All right, welcome back. It's the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're joined now by Zac Jackson. He'll be heading out to Berea again today. Zac, you've been at the first 2 days of camp. Before we get to the quarterback specifically, Chris Renkel yesterday said he sensed a different buzz, a different energy with Todd Monken. Jason said he didn't really sense anything.
It just felt like a training practice.
Yeah, although you did say it was noticeable that they practiced longer.
It was longer.
I feel like every year we say there's a different buzz, whether there is or not. I don't know. Do you sense any difference?
I think there's a structural difference to practice. Slight, but there is one. I've sensed the buzz just in it is the first 2 days of training camp, right? Like, here's this Jadeveon Clowney news. Here's Grant Delpit not practicing and he's practicing. Here's Deion Sanders. But, like, yesterday, besides that, like, it was awful. Like, Jason and I watched, and maybe there was one good stretch of completed passes, but nothing down the field, nothing to watch. Like, Denzel Ward looks awesome, and Jared Verse looks awesome, and it looks like a football practice with an offense that can't move the ball. And it's 2 days, but it looks rough so far, and it's not surprising, but it does.
Yeah. So the quarterback competition so far.
Ticket.
Oh, did you get one?
I'm still looking.
Obviously, Deshaun Watson was hideous in day one.
I can talk to Zach anytime I want. You guys
Yesterday, you said he looked better because the only way he can go is up from there. So
I mean, it was really bad on day one. Like, I went out there, but when I said to myself, I'm not going to dissect every throw in this training camp.
Right.
Like, I'm going to watch the flow of practice. I'm going to watch the offensive line. I'm going to try to get to know what they're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and there was just individual passes, and, like, the misses were so bad with no defense. So I started watching. Like, okay. And then he really struggled throughout the day. Now, yesterday, I thought he threw it better. So was it a bad day? Is he something ailing him? Was just the adrenaline of full practice getting to? I don't know. You would think with the guy that's been in the league 9 years, that wouldn't be the case. He looked a lot better yesterday. I thought Shedeur in his first session yesterday looked completely awful, and I thought later in practice he settled in. And that's kind of been the theme. Like, I really thought, just our few viewings back in May, I thought Shedeur was clearly behind. Went and watched the last 3 or 4 open practices. I thought he was making up ground. So I think it's pretty even right now. I don't think a lot has changed. And as far as, like, what this offense looks like and who's taking the lead, I think we need to get in the pads, see him run Quinshon Judkins, see how different things react, and just see more. Because we're a lot, probably half of practice is still what they call two-spotting on different fields. And so they're running through stuff.
Explain what that is, please.
So they have 11 on 11 on one field and 11 on 11 with the others. And the quarterbacks are alternating every day.
Yeah.
Spencer Fano and DeJuan Jones are alternating every day. Apparently, Tevin Jenkins and KT Levinson are alternating every day. Okay. But the rookie receivers are always on field too. Yeah. And the veteran receivers are always on field. And that's so everybody can get the reps.
Makes sense.
Right? And so you're running the exact same plays on both fields. First, you're jogging through them, and then you're running like a set of 7 or 8 at full speed. But everybody's running the same stuff. And it's the installation, the refinement, all of that. It's really not a lot to see, but you're making sure that everybody's getting the reps and everybody. Now, when you go to the back half of practice and we get past the first 8 or 10 days of camp, it won't be that. It'll be one group who's out there. Here's what we're working on today. Right. And whoever's the first group will get 8 or 9 snaps. Whoever's second will get 4 or 5. And then if there's anything left over, the other guys go. So if you're a young guy, you need to show the coaches right now that you know your stuff. You're at least in the right place. Right. Or else you're going to be left out when they minimize it. Because you can't, it's just too many reps to do this for the whole camp.
So I think the DeJuan Jones factor, right? I had heard that don't rule out DeJuan Jones as a possibility at left tackle.
Oh, you can rule out.
OTAs come and he's first man up. Training camp comes, he's first man up. Is he a realistic option to possibly start at left tackle until Fano is ready, or how does that look?
No, I don't think it's realistic. I think your top 10 rookie's going to start. But I think that they just want to protect or continue their investment in DeJuan Jones. They think when he's healthy, he can play. And he's played a little bit. He's just never been healthy. So I think also what happened last year weighs into it, where they said we're good with Cornelius Lucas and DeJuan Jones, and they weren't good at all. So I just think they're making sure that they're ready. Down the road, I don't know if Fano is going to be a great player, a good player, if he's going to move inside, if he's going to be elite. And they don't know either. So I think they're protecting their investment right now. And so those are the two moving parts. That and KT Levinson, who started 7 games at both tackle spots, is a guard. He'll be a tackle if they need him, but he's a guard and getting a chance to compete for a spot right now.
Have you seen, because you were there the first day, I wasn't, have you seen Brailsford at all?
He's been all with the second team. I think later in camp he's going to get his chance, but
with the first,
he's the second center. So Luke Whippler is not even in the mix right now, and like Kendrick Green and those guys they brought in at the end of last year are not in the mix. It's the only holdover offensive linemen that are in the top 2 units are Tevin Jenkins and Zach Zinter.
And DeJuan.
And DeWant.
Yeah.
I don't even consider DeWant a holdover because he's played so little in the
That's
last
true,
2 years.
yeah.
You're right. So 3 of the 10 are back. Zinter has never played at all. Jenkins played a little bit, and Zinter wouldn't make the team as of right now. So we're going to see how that goes. But he wouldn't make the team because there's just other guys in front of him at guard.
What they're doing in terms of the format of it makes sense. I get what they're doing, especially leaving the wide receivers the same field. This way both quarterbacks get to throw to those receivers.
Yes.
Does it say anything, just because we're looking to read every tea leaf, that Fano is with Shedeur?
No, I don't think that it says that. I think it's just getting guys looks. It's a valid question. And I think for everybody, the rookies, Fano, all of them, I think in a week plus, it's a better question. See what's changed, see who showed. But they just want to make sure that guys are getting the reps. Right. And what they did with a brand new offense pool is they installed it in the weeks leading up to the draft before they could actually get on the field. When they had that phase of the offseason program where you could have meetings and drills, they installed the whole offense then. So this goes to a little bit of your question. They're still assuming that the rookies are a shade behind, which is a fine assumption. They want him to make it up. Right. They know Fano's going to be out there in week 1 unless he's a complete disaster. But they're assuming right now that the rookies are a little bit behind, still playing catch up. So on that first field each day, they think those veteran linemen and those veteran receivers are going to just move a little faster.
Jadeveon Clowney, discuss.
I mean, I said if there's always surprises in training camp, but if I'd have thought of 300 things I'm going to be surprised about this week, it's not going to be Jadeveon Clowney.
That would have been 301.
Let's look at his track record. Let's look at what this team is trying to do, which is play young guys.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes no sense. And like, if Todd and Andrew do it, then they're in their rights to do it because they're in charge. But man, it just makes no sense.
Are they telling you that they're concerned about the depth at end if they do this?
Well, I think they're mostly saying that we still think we can be a great defensive line. And that be the engine of the team and be the standout group. I think that's what they're saying.
Speaking of the defensive line, I seen a play yesterday, and I think it was Mike Hall. He kind of looked explosive. I'm a person that
I know which play you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm a person that believes that this is a make or break camp for Mike Hall. What have you seen those 2 days from him?
Yeah, a good start. I mean, he's getting to play with the ones, and this is it. He's under contract for next year, but he's either going to be in the mix or he's not. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, his rookie year, he was his own doing derailed, and then he was not healthy last year until October, and was he healthy at all? So if he's healthy, he's going to play a lot for this team, and they drafted him because of how he fits the way they want to play defense. So I agree, this is a really big 5 or 6 weeks from Mike Hall.
Have you been on since the Ward extension was announced?
No.
Okay. So you said you were against, or you didn't like it, at least in the group chat, and Mike outed you on the show. So now
that's fine.
I'm outing you on the show. So I guess, explain your stance on the Denzel extension, and then also what you thought of the Delpit extension.
I don't want to see this team do a half rebuild. To me, this is a rebuild. You traded away the best player in football. You have been publicly and consciously getting younger and stacking guys to be good in a couple of years. Yeah. And I just thought the better plan was to get as much dead money out of the way and get all these young guys in and move out. That didn't mean trade Denzel right away. What I think happened now that it's kind of worn off is Denzel said, pay me or trade me. Yeah. And it just feels like the same old Browns when it's just, what do they do with their problems, Jason? Just pay the guy. Just pay the guy.
Just write the check.
I actually like Denzel, and I'm usually with you. But no, I mean, I don't have a problem with them signing him because by the time that extra money kicks in, they should be out of most of their cap problems. And it's a massive if, but whether it's Shedeur Sanders or somebody they draft next year, I do think there's enough talent that they could turn it around quickly if they get the quarterback. Yeah. Obviously, that's a massive if.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that they're saying, hey, we traded Myles Garrett, but we're still going to have a really good defense. They're hanging their hat on that. Right?
Yeah,
The Carson Schwarzenegger's the real deal, and Jared Verse the real deal, and Denzel's still going to play for years.
And they want some veterans.
And I always thought they would. I thought the resolution to Grant Delpit would be an extension. I just wasn't sure because I think everybody wasn't sure. Grant Delpit and Denzel. Denzel's been perfect attendance from day one his entire career. And when he wasn't out there in June this year, wasn't even showing up until he had to, I was like, something's
different. When Zach came on a couple weeks ago and said the Browns was going to trade Denzel, I didn't dismiss it like I did the Myles Garrett. I learned my lesson from Myles that anything is possible. But I was somebody that was a fan of the extension. And I hear what you're saying. I'm a little confused, and me and you've talked about this, Jason. It's like you just don't know what the Browns' messaging is. Yeah, you trade Myles Garrett, and to most people it looks like full rebuild. This season is a wash. You're not trying to win. But then you hear Andrew Berry talk about, he put emphasis on making sure he got Jared Verse back. And then you see the re-signing of Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward. And it's like, okay, I know the strength of my team is my defense. And regardless of trading Myles Garrett, I still believe in this defense. And it just comes off to me like they're trying to win. I'm not saying that they are, but they're coming off like they're trying to win this year.
I think at this point, that's inarguable. Right. And I think if you look at the blueprint, Earl, what is it? Like, play really good defense, run Judkins a million times, get some bounces early, and maybe you're onto something.
Right.
I would just like, what did Andrew Berry say yesterday? Young doesn't necessarily mean bad.
He said it wasn't a cop-out for bad performance.
Yeah. Well, I would just say that trying to win and being capable of winning are two very different things.
That's true.
And so we'll see. I'm not assuming anything. NFL seasons early on get wild.
Right.
But I
don't think they're going to win either. But I can also argue that if they think they could be good in 27, which is not crazy, that all those players can help them in 27 still. Sure. Certainly versus Young, and Delpit's not that old, and they didn't pay. It's not like they paid him crazy money.
And look, the cap keeps going up, and they spend.
Right.
But Denzel and Grant Delpit are going to have huge numbers at the end of their contracts at the time that they have to pay Schlesinger. It's not a traditional position. That
Maybe
you pay.
Mason Graham.
At Harold Fannin, it's not a traditional position. Jared Verse is about to get a bank-breaking deal in sometime in the next 12 to 18 months, right? So it's all going to stack up at the end.
That's true. But right now they don't have to pay a quarterback, and they're not in.
And probably you're not going to be paying. So that's how you justify it. You're going to have a quarterback on a rookie deal, almost certainly. Right. And that includes if Shedeur wins the job, because you got him for 2 more years.
Exactly.
Zach, I got a question for you. When I went out to practice the last 2 years, Myles always just jumped off the page. Yeah. He was a one-of-one guy. I'm curious, what is your take so far on how Jared Verse looks? And I'm not asking to compare him to Myles Garrett, because Myles is a true one-of-one.
You are.
No, just what's your early impression of, does he jump off the page in a kind of, I guess I am doing it. You're right, Bull. I am. What is the early in-person observations of Jared Verse in a similar setting to what we knew Myles Garrett was an elite player at?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you watch the live 11-on-11 plays over 2 days, you've seen Jared Verse a handful of times, as much as you've seen anyone stand out other than Denzel Ward. But they're very different. You used to look down there and see Myles Garrett and Clowney, and you'd be like, these are two aliens. You know, and even when you watch the defensive line group as a whole, you notice that Myles isn't there because he was so different looking. Yeah, so Jared Verse is a lot shorter and a lot more power-based game. Yeah. But just in terms of like, if there's been 25 competitive snaps that you're really watching, like I think he's been in the backfield on half of them.
Yeah.
Do the pads come on this weekend?
Monday. They might be on tomorrow, but no hitting. But next week, you have to get through the first 4 acclimation days before you can have your full contact days.
Give us a little quarterback, wide receiver analysis so far.
Not much to see because they're just, everybody's getting their reps. And there's been maybe 1 downfield completion, and that was in 7-on-7. Yeah. So Casey Concepcion is really, really fast. He's small. He doesn't always catch the ball, but he's really, really fast. And Denzel Boston looks natural. He's smooth. So how that's all going to fit remains to be seen. It's only 2 days, but Isaiah Bond was awesome in the spring. Haven't seen him do a thing. But it's 2 days. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing I noticed is Cedric Tillman's running mostly with the threes, and that's not a surprise.
I don't think he's a lock for the roster.
Oh, he's nearly a lock on the wrong side of the roster.
Yeah, right.
How does it come about? Yeah. They haven't lost anybody. The defensive tackle, Kalia Davis, they brought in the offseason. He left with an injury on day 1 and wasn't out there on day 2. We have because they don't have to report anything. Right. And Damari Mathis, a veteran corner who they're taking a shot on, made an interception on day 1 and then left the field. He was out there yesterday. So when that injury hits, and you're not wishing it on anybody, but it's inevitable, that's usually when things get shuffled.
What have you noticed, if anything? I don't know if it's possible at this point, but like in terms of dynamics with Todd Monken, with the new defensive coordinator, new OC, anything that's stood out there?
Too early for that.
That's what I figured.
It's just a couple of days. I mean, and we're watching the quarterbacks. And like I said, I'm reminding myself, like, don't just watch the quarterback.
Right.
But like when there's going to be 5 11-on-11 plays, like you would like to see him complete passes down the field, and we just haven't seen it.
Me and you, boy, have talked a lot about the makeup of the coaching staff and how everybody is brand new defensive coordinator first year, special teams coordinator first time having that type of role. Same thing with Todd Monken. And I talked to my friend Cecil Shorts, who played for Todd, and I asked him about that. And he said he felt like Todd hired guys that he can trust, that even though they are stepping into this role for the first time, he trusts their coaching ability and their ability to communicate to where he can delegate and just focus on the offense. The second part of that, he said, was a lot of people forget that Todd made his way as a wide receivers coach. He went back and highlighted Justin Blackmon as somebody that he was responsible for. He talked about being present, and having Todd work with Mike Evans and himself. And he said that basically you see this Browns wide receiver room and it has Todd Monken's blueprint all over it. You got your big, strong wide receiver and Denzel, as far as like you had with Mike Evans and then maybe in Justin Blackmon.
Yeah.
You got your speed guy in KC like you had in Zay Flowers. Do you think that Todd Monken having that role in that background as a wide receiver coach will propel this group a little bit higher than what maybe when we anticipate?
Well, I think this group has already taken a leap because it just couldn't help it, right? But certainly in 2 days, Earl, I've seen Todd Monken coaching the receivers, and it hasn't really been pretty. But he was out there personally coaching the receivers in individual drills. And like to the construction of it, you see the blueprint. You want a basketball team, right? You want your big guy, you want your point guard, you want a couple guys who are interchangeable. So I think Judy's probably not going to be here past this year. We're not sure if Cedric Tillman's going to be here in 5 weeks, but you know who the core is, right? And Bond's kind of the wild card. He can run. Concepcion's going to be here. Boston's going to be here. And then who else makes plays? Like I said, the veterans are in front right now as they should be and as they are in every camp. But we know these rookies are going to be involved, and it's probably going to be sooner than later.
I mean, if the potential with Concepcion, Boston, Bond, Fannin, Judkins, I'll throw Fano in there because he's young. Those are all young guys.
Yeah.
If they play to their capabilities, and they were all high picks, except for Bond, but he probably would have been had he not had the off the field stuff. Like, there's a lot of potential here for when they have that quarterback.
Sure.
For years you talked about, there's always been fans who are like, you got to build the team and then get the quarterback. And I've always been like, that's stupid. You don't do it that way. But sometimes you have no choice but to do it that way. And that's kind of what the Browns are doing here.
No, I've kind of said all along, like, if they nailed this draft again, and if some of these guys continue to develop, it's not just do it once, it's got to be continued to develop. Then the whole temperature of everything will be different next March than it was last year. Where it was like, they can't help but make an upgrade at some of these spots.
Right,
I peeped how Andrew Berry tried to kind of like pull back expectations. He was the first one to say, hey, that 2025 class, yeah, they was great, but that's rare. That don't happen all like that. So he was kind of trying to set it up now. Just in case y'all come asking me about this 2026 class and it don't perform like 2025, that was a one-off. That typically don't happen.
One thing on the staff that I noticed, there's a lot of special teams periods in these early practices because that's how guys make the team, and you have a new coordinator and all those things. When they break off into special teams periods, the offensive coordinator is left coaching Quinshon Judkins by himself because Judkins is the only back who doesn't play special teams. And I don't think I've ever seen an offensive coordinator that specifically. I've certainly seen the head coach follow 12 different quarterbacks around. Yeah. I don't think I've seen an offensive coordinator like in one-on-one time over and over again with a running back. Like Quinshon Judkins, I don't want to take away from Fannin, but Quinshon Judkins is how this team has any chance this year. Right? Like
defensive
the line develops, the defense gives him a chance, and he stays healthy and goes crazy. Like that's how they are semi-competitive.
In
the records, in the standings.
He's got to be Jonathan Taylor, right? Like he's got to be a superstar back. And if they play great defense and he's a superstar, then they have a chance to be competitive. All right, we're going to take a break. Next hour, Zach will stay with us through the first segment of the 11 o'clock hour, and we'll continue with more Browns conversation. But we're going to spend a few minutes on the NBA when we